Hello, viewers, and welcome to today's episode of Disappointed Dragon, one that I am very, very excited for. We have before us the LEGO Transformers Soundwave. At the time of this video, the third and currently final LEGO Transformer, although I don't know if they'll make more, and the only Decepticon available. And I have to say, they couldn't have made a better choice for their first Decepticon. Soundwave is by far my favorite Transformer. I've mentioned this before, and I think that will probably never change. He's just so good. We'll talk more about why he's my favorite once he's actually put together, but for now we're just going to take a look at the box and open it up, take a look at it, and then we'll get to building it. All right, so up in the corner it shows model converts. Also huge. To have it in frame, I have to be very far away from it, and I'm going to hit my camera when I lean over to bend it, so we'll see how that works out. Comes with both Laserbeak and Ravage, his two mini cassettes. And unlike the other ones, which have very nice-looking boxes for display, this one has a huge warning, letting us know that it contains a button cell or corn battery that we should not be eating. So important to know that we should not eat that battery. It's unfortunate that it's on there, but at the same time, safety things must be taken in. The back, though, much more interesting. We have here him fully in robot mode with his two little cassettes, in the middle of conversion and fully converted to mini cassette and player. I'm really excited for this. I have all of the LEGO kits so far. We've done them on the channel before, and I really liked both of them, but I'm expecting this one to be the best. Soundwave is he's just such a good Transformer. Really, really cool. I'm very excited for this. It is huge, comes with a sound brick with some voice lines, which we will look at later on. It's great. Like I say, though, the box, because of the warning, it's not as pretty, but I understand why that's on there, so that's fine. Let's open it up. And I have to say that I'm very happy that I got this as a gift because it was quite expensive. I believe here in Canada it is 230 Canadian before tax for this set. So not cheap. Pardon the sound of plastic as I pull all this stuff out. Okay, we've got the big book. Fortunately, my book is a bit curled. We're just gonna... Ooh! So many bags. So many parts bags. Now, let's take a quick look at the instruction booklet, which, as with all of these big black box LEGO sets, is very nice. Cool image of Soundwave here with Laserbeak. And then just a simple Decepticon logo on the back. Let's see if it has too much to say inside. I know the Optimus one had like a pretty cool thing in it, but for the last couple, there hasn't really been much inside. Oh, here we go. It's got a little bit of information on the collection. A couple of stats on Soundwave there. As Megatron's communications officer, Soundwave is a master of deception. His dedication to the Decepticons' cause makes him feared by allies and enemies alike. He even spies on other Decepticons to root out dissent. His robot spies, Ravage and Laserbeak, can be deployed for espionage and sabotage missions. He has an intelligence of 9 and a skill of 10. And of course, Soundwave superior, Autobots inferior. Reference to his line in the movie where he says Soundwave superior, Constructicons inferior, but that's fine. I've got some information on the included sound brick, which we will take a look at. Oh, we can change his eye color to match either the cartoon or the toy. That's pretty cool. And, one of my favorite things that they've been doing lately, there's even a little mini Soundwave cassette that we can put on the little plaque. That's super, super cool. Oh, here we go. Here's some images of Soundwave from the comics. I can't remember what artist that is. Oh man, was that the Dreamwave? I'm not sure, but that's a very cool version of Soundwave. He just always looks so good. They've recently announced the Studio Series 86 Soundwave as well, which at time of this is not yet out, and probably won't be for, I think it was February, I want to say, is when it's supposed to come out. At which point I will, of course, have it, and maybe we'll take a look at it then, but wait and see. We've got the stickers. As always, I'll complain a little bit. I don't like stickers, but that's fine. I'm willing to make the exception. And this would probably be his chest piece from the field. I'm not sure where the sound brick is. It's somewhere in this pile of boxes. So we're going to build this. I think unlike the other ones, because I'm really looking forward to enjoying building this and it's such a small work area, I'm just going to build this one off camera and we'll come and look at it when it's finished. We'll compare it to some of my Soundwave toys because at Soundwave being one of my favorite Transformers, I do have a few. We won't put in too many. I'll probably just compare him to the G1 one and maybe the Masterpiece one, because the Masterpiece one I think will be close-ish in scale. I still think it's going to be much smaller, but we'll see. So be back in what'll probably be seconds for you, but likely hours for me. All right, see you a bit. Hello everyone, welcome back. As you can see, Soundwave has been assembled, and I have with him two of his contemporaries, Masterpiece Soundwave and the Hasbro reissue of G1 Soundwave that I showed off in a previous video. I am really happy with this guy here. The build took me about, I don't know, 2 hours perhaps, off and on while I was doing other things. Very enjoyable, very easy to follow instructions, super satisfying. They actually had in the book a bunch of little details along the way. I won't give that away if you do get the set. While you're doing the instructions, I have little information in the corner of some of the steps to tell you some facts about Transformers and the design of the toy and the design of this figure as they went along. It's really cool. So what do you get? You get Soundwave himself, as we saw before. You get Laserbeak, who's in there, Ravage, who's here, and a tiny little Soundwave. The cool thing is the tiny little Soundwave has a little flat piece on the front here showing that right now Laserbeak is inside, matching the larger one, and also one for Ravage. There's also an extra Decepticon symbol which I decided to keep there. Then you've got, once again, the little tech spec there: Soundwave, function, communications, Soundwave, superior, strength, intelligence, speed, endurance, rank, courage, firepower, and skill. And as you can see, it's clearly Soundwave's mini cassette form. Now, I really like Soundwave. I talked about this before. Soundwave is my favorite Transformer. I don't know if that's just because I have a lot of nostalgia and emotional attachments to tapes. I used to listen to audio tapes a lot, especially dramas and audiobooks. So cassette players are awesome, but he also has such a neat design. And actually, you know, I've never actually seen a mini cassette player that looks similar to Soundwave. He looks kind of like a Walkman that I owned, but he's supposed to be playing mini cassettes. I haven't seen that. But as you can see, very, very similar to the G1 toy. Very, very clearly the same thing. Even to the Masterpiece one, which is even closer. Like, they are incredibly close. It's fantastic. It does fall apart a little bit more when you look at the back, but allowances were made. It has a functioning cassette, just like all of them, which is great. It does lack a spring. It is a very ingenious way that they've done it, but it doesn't have a spring, so it just kind of falls open. But it does work, and that's really cool. You can pull out your tapes, close it back up. One of the fun things about it is that there's actually a voice-activated brick inside, so when you hit the play button, it plays a bunch of different sounds. The iconic transformation sound, the scene change. There's so many of them. It does seem to cycle randomly. There's just so many of them. Anyways, as it seems to be random, we won't go through all of them, but there's quite a number of them. It's really cool. Now, the tape mode, although it is really good, close please. I'm just going to move these guys off to the side. Does kind of fall apart a little bit on the sides and on the back. You can see his fists are just kind of hanging out, but cool enough, they did find a way to store all of his accessories. You have his shoulder cannon here, his gun here, the barrel for the gun. But his hands are just kind of hanging out. Same with the other side. They didn't really have any of the knobs or anything on the side, but that's okay. It is really solid. Feels fine to pick up, which is great. And I mean, same with these guys. There's a little bit of kibble on the back of the Masterpiece one as well, so you know what? That's fine. And these were both about the same price, so stands to reason. The transformation is also very simple. It's much more simple than this guy, but not as simple as this guy, although you can clearly see all three of them share very similar nods. They're really cool. As for the cassettes, I will just compare them all here. I didn't want to bring out the Masterpiece cassettes. We're just going to look at the G1 ones. But here we have both of the laser beaks, and again, they're very similar in transformation. The legs fold down. The wings fold out. And the head comes out. And just like the other ones, you have to add on all of his big shoulder weapons separately, and just like the original toy, there's nowhere to put those, which is unfortunate, but that's okay. There's even some nice metallic pieces here. But yeah, no, that's a really good Laserbeak. It does look like Laserbeak, and as you can see, the transformation really similar. The wings fold out, the legs fold down, and the head folds out. Or it would if I could, yeah, there we go. Get my finger in there. And then just like on the Lego one, the silver blasters have to be added on afterwards. And there they are. Clearly, the transformation was inspired by it, and they're very, very similar. The only real downside to the Lego version is that the neck doesn't have nearly as much posability as this one, but that's okay. It's Lego. I'm not expecting too much. It looks really, really, really good. Ravage, he was always a pretty weak cassette. Here's the reissue of the G1 one where, you know, he folds into a cassette and he kind of folds out. Oh. But for some reason, this reissue one is really stiff. Probably because I only transformed it like 2 times. I can barely get his legs to do anything. Anyways, same idea. He's got to put the missiles on. And there's the G1 Ravage. The biggest issue with G1 Ravage is that he's super flat and obviously cannot really stand. This one actually takes more from the Masterpiece version of the toys and most subsequent versions of Ravage, where instead of him being flat and just kind of staying flat, he sort of folds downwards. It's hard to describe. You'll see what I mean when I show you. But he folds like this, so that the two halves make a thicker body. And then the head folds out. The tail and the legs. Giving him a more, you know, actual, like, filled out body. The tape mode doesn't look as good, but the actual leopard mode looks way better. Now, can I remember how his... Oh, popped off some of his parts there. He also has his missiles, which peg on the side. Like that. And in this respect, the Lego Ravage looks much better than the original Ravage, because unfortunately the original Ravage is super thin and doesn't stand. Whereas this one looks much better. But both of them are really good. I'm very impressed by what they were able to do with Lego. Like, this is fantastic. Clearly Ravage. The cassette modes of both are kind of weak, but they were on the original ones too, so that's not really saying too much. They're really cool. I'm very pleased with that. For the big guys, the transformations, well, we'll take a quick look. We're not going to go through the transformation of the G1 or the Masterpiece one because that's a pain. I'm going to transform that off screen. But we will take a quick look at the transformation of the G1 one, and then we'll go to the transformation of the Lego one, and you'll see how very similar they are. So for the G1 one, of course, the sides come out, legs fold down. And for some reason, they made this reissue one really, really stiff. Oh, it's a horrible, horrible sound. Feet flip down. The arms fold out. Ugh. Come on. His fists are inside. And then his battery compartment, which I thought was one of the coolest things about him when I was a kid, is where you store his weapons. There is, of course, nowhere to store the blast effect or whatever you want to call it. But that's okay. We'll give it the allowance of it being, you know, a nearly 40-year-old design. But super simple, really good, still looks great as both a robot and a cassette player. And as we'll see shortly, the Lego one follows suit very similarly. Now, just like with the other Lego Transformers, it's very heavy. So you have to be careful when you're doing it so that things don't break off or go places. But it does transform fairly easily. And there is storage on the back for the weapons, as you saw. And they have specific places where they go, which is having trouble getting it out. There we go. So for his gun, we'll just show that off really quickly. There's a slot here, so you actually have to pull it out because it's just on the Bionicle connector there. And there's just studs on the side for the other one. So the biggest issue I have is that his arms don't really peg in anywhere. They just kind of float back there when he's in cassette mode. But I mean, you're putting on a shelf, who cares? And this just pegs in back there. So his legs... Ugh. Are held in place by his arms here. There's like a claw there that hooks into the back of the legs. Same with on this side. That's really about the only thing that's holding the whole thing in place, which is fine since it's sort of a box. You don't really need much else besides that. Then you've got these pegs down here, which are part of the leg. Or, sorry, not pegs, these panels, they fold down. And the whole leg folds down like that. And the whole leg turns on this ratchet here and comes down. Oh, you'll do that a lot when you're transforming him, continuously hitting the sound effect. And then down. Then his arms fold back over. So let's move this back up. You can see that same one that clipped in on the back clips in on the side here. Like that. Same on the other side, like that. His arms have like a little sort of ratchet joint there that you just ratchet down to put the hands back. Like that. Arms are done. The head is in the back here, which folds down, folds up, turn it around. Just like that. And then the last thing for the main body is the feet, which are right down here. And you have this little panel on the bottom here, which folds up. Oh, it's really hard to see. There's this thing here, folds up like that, goes to the back of the leg, and then you just bring the foot down. The foot's on like this sliding panel here. Same thing on the other side. Down. And then we have Soundwave standing up. And the last thing to do is to put his shoulder cannon on, which goes on the shoulder. There's 4 pegs up there. You stick it on like that. And his gun can only really be held in one hand, as if you follow the way that it's put together in the instructions, where this is part of his hand. There's nothing stopping you from moving this to this hand if you really want to. But then you put the hand in there. Pegs in. And then adjust him how you want him posed, and you're all done. So you can see very, very similar to the G1 transformation. Not too much change. They did add this nice cool thing with the feet there, where the whole kind of shin collapses. And because they've kept it really simple, the posability of it is really good. It also feels really sturdy. Unlike the Optimus, where the waist had like that one really weak joint that would make the whole thing sort of fall apart. This one feels really good. Now, of course, for the most part, you're not really going to be playing with these guys. They're going to be on a shelf to look at, but it is still really nice. So for posability, his arms have like a ratchet. They go up and down. He actually has a double hinge in the elbow here with 2 ball joints, so you can actually get a full like bend completely up. Because of how the ratchet joint works, you got the whole thing around, but he can't really go out too far just because of how the joint works. That's okay, you don't really need to. It's still got a pretty good pose. Other arm, of course, exactly the same. The head's a bit weird. It isn't a ball joint, but because of how it transforms, you have to kind of half untransform it if you want him to look up, and then he gets like this really weird long neck. So for the most part, it really is just a swivel. That's fine. A little thing to note, you can change the eyes. We mentioned at the beginning you can have the yellow eyes or the red eyes. I like cartoons, so he gets the red ones. This, of course, opens, like we said before. You've got the button, which gives you a little bit of a ability to rotate the legs. There's no thigh swivel. That's the closest thing we have to a thigh swivel. There is a knee, mostly for transformation, but it's also there. You can also do it the other way. The foot does have ankle tilt, but it cannot go down or up, just tilts. That's okay. It has to be fairly heavy to hold him up. I have to say, though, that I think of the 3, he is by far my favorite. I love that he comes with 2 mini Transformers as well. The Laserbeak and the Ravage are both fantastic. They really steal it. The tiny little guy here, the little Soundwave with the tech thing, I love it. I'm not usually a big fan of these little things because they're so easy to get lost and they take up space in the display case, but having them with the miniature, something that they've started doing now, I noticed that with the Droideka, it just makes it so much more fun. It gives you a reason to have that. It's like this nice little thing. And Soundwave has just always been such a cool design. I always thought that of the 80s Transformers, he was the most fun toy because he's the one who seems most like a posable robot. He's got, like elbow joints, knee joints. He has a clear head. He has lasers and all that. And he transforms so easily. Some of the other ones just don't work as well. He doesn't have detachable hands that you can lose, unlike most of the other ones. Just fantastic. Made him like my favorite Transformer. Also, some of the other designs for him through the years have just been just as cool. The one from Transformers Prime where he was sort of like a drone and he had these big spiky arms and stuff. He's just always been so cool. And, all the way back to his roots, my favorite version with the cassettes. Me being a huge lover of audio cassettes just makes it so much better. There's actually an audio cassette right in the background up there beside the little mini Lego boombox. So yeah, no, it's fantastic. I think if you can afford it and you are thinking about getting it, definitely pick this guy up. Of the 3, he's my favorite. He's a bit pricey. Like I say, I think he was about $220, $230 Canadian. But definitely for a Lego kit, lots of fun, looks great, well worth the shelf space. That'll do it for this one, guys. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and remember that Soundwave is in fact superior. All right, bye.